The enemy is at the gates. Might even be named gates for all I know. Fire! I said fire! Where's the prop man? My cannon's jammed again. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're taking a look at another Generation Selects Transformer, and this is one of the newer ones released in the lineup. We're taking a look here at Galvatron. Now, of course, this Galvatron is being done up to be a special Galvatron. He's meant to invoke this Galvatron, the toy featured in the 1986 toy line. Galvatron here was done up in these colors early on before they decided in the movie to make him all purple. But for whatever reason, that change could not be done to the toy in time for release. So even in the Marvel comics that were being published at the time, Galvatron was done up in these colors. Of course, Galvatron appeared in the comics sometime before his appearance in the animated movie, especially in the comics that were published by Marvel UK. So, Galvatron was treated as a separate character, not as the upgraded form of Megatron, as depicted in the movie. In the comics, Galvatron was built off of how he was portrayed on his tech spec. He is a rather treacherous and deceitful warrior who always plots against his own allies, despite being such a high-ranking and very powerful Decepticon. And of course, naturally, this toy is a reuse of the mold used for the Kingdom and Legacy release of Galvatron. So they essentially are the same build, just with some different colored parts. Get the old and the new Galvatron out of the way here. And it should be noted as well that this Galvatron also included something that we don't see too often with many modern toys. He included a sheet of stickers. As you can see, I've applied many of the stickers to help enhance his look so that he looks more sort of like how the toy did. But of course, there was a few that I didn't bother with putting on, like they got down here, they got 4 little silver ones. Those would go right in here, in that area on his chest, but it already looks kind of gray, so I didn't really see the point in doing that. And then also there was one to go right in here on the center of his chest with the Decepticon symbol, but he already has one etched in on there, painted in on there like that, so I really didn't see the point. But of course, if you have this toy in your home, that's entirely up to you how you customize him with the stickers. Of course, I do enjoy the bonus sticker that we get of Unicron's decapitated head, which is a nice little bonus. And we should also point out here that the green color of the Matrix, that's an homage to the e-hobby version of Galvatron, which was done to promote the Headmaster's toy line, as that was where it was a series in Japan where Galvatron had a more prominent appearance in it, due to the Japanese series having a slightly different continuity than the American series. Since the animated movie was not released in Japan at the same time, the Japanese series went in a different direction. So Galvatron was done up as a wholly different character. If you keep watch somewhere up here at the top of the screen, you will see a link to my review of the eHobby version, as my brother bought that toy years ago. Let's take a look here at Galvatron's accessories. And we will start with the Matrix. It's done up exactly the same way as the modern Galvatron, the Kingdom Legacy one. The only real difference is that the Matrix is painted green. With the chains even the same thing. It's probably not coming through very clearly here on the camera, but it looks like it's a shade darker. But it may not be exactly perfect. But the biggest difference is, of course, just how the Matrix is colored. And then, of course, next we have Galvatron's blaster. It's basically two guns combined together. So we'll just separate the one and put it aside. And it's done up more in a dark gray, almost black plastic, whereas the one that came with the Kingdom Legacy Galvatron was done up in gray plastic. And again, this is done up to resemble the Revenge, which was Galvatron's ship in the animated movie. And purportedly these are scaled to the right size with Unicron. Of course, I do not have Unicron, so I can't tell you how accurate that is. I can tell you, viewers, though, I have seen Unicron. I did see him at a toy store down south of where I live. I saw his box. I'm assuming by the price tag he was in it. But I saw his box. There is no way in any sort of world that that box would fit in my small car. Or in my brother's equally small car. There is no way that's going to fit. We would probably have to borrow my parents' minivan. But at any rate, that Unicron was selling for about $2,000. Yeah, you pay $600 to Hasbro, and then now you can get it for $2,000. And then lastly, of course, we have Galvatron's cannon. It, of course, comes apart into two pieces. The back piece, which is what attaches to his arm, is done up in purple plastic with some black highlights. Which, again, the original was done up in silver plastic with a black highlight. And then, of course, there is the gun barrel. Which the gun barrel for this one has a little more sparkles in it. That's meant to be an homage to the original, since it is loaded with sprinkles and sparklies. It's probably why it's such a pain in the butt to find on loose Galvatrons. That's a thing for any of you that are looking for a G1 Galvatron. Go complete. He's next to impossible to piece together because everybody's after the orange barrel. And of course, for comparison's sake, here is the Kingdom and Legacy version, and it has no sparkles. And then now we'll take a look at Galvatron's articulation. Since he's built from the same Kingdom toy, he will have the exact same articulation. His head can turn from side to side, and it does rock up and down from being on a ball joint. His arms raise out to the side, about so far. And his arm can rotate at the shoulder all the way around. Galvatron has double jointed elbows. So he can go all the way like that with his elbow. And if you get the tread to separate from the shoulder, he does have a swivel at the bicep. So Galvatron does have G.I. Joe battle grip. Galvatron can be twisted a bit at his hips, so he has some small dance moves going for him there. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. His legs do feature a thigh cut, so you can adjust his legs at the thigh. You can raise his leg at the hip 90 degrees, and you can bend his leg at the knee 90 degrees. So all in all, Galvatron does have a fairly decent range of motion. Alright, it's time to transform Galvatron. And again, since he's like the Kingdom Legacy version, he transforms exactly the same. We're going to start by taking his fists, and we fold his fists inward into his arms. Then we're going to fold the arms up at the elbow. He has a tab at his forearm that should connect to a hole on his shoulders. Should just pop right in, just like that. Then you're going to shift the tread that was behind his arm and swing it so it rests on his arms. And of course, be prepared for it to be something of an angle like that to kind of keep it balanced. Now we're going to come down here to his legs. We're going to fold in these heels. You're going to take these bits here at the back of his leg, pop it free, and fold it over so it goes around to the side of his leg. Then, of course, once you've done that, turn his legs at the thigh cut so that his feet point outwards. Like that. And then you can bring his legs together. Just like that. Now we come back here to his back. We're going to fold down this purple section. And then while we're at it, we'll also pop his arms free at the shoulder. They should just pop free and fold down like that. When we come back here behind him, pop this section free and fold it down. Then we can get his chest freed, fold it up so we can fold his head inside. His head should hide inside here. A bit stiff. And we also fold the chest down and fold this up to conceal his head. Then this whole section can be folded down to go over his hip. Then you can fold this back section up and it fills in the cavity. Then you will take his legs, and you're going to rotate, fold them backward at his hip. And they've got posts that should connect into the holes here, this purple piece, right down at the bottom. There we go. Then now with that done, raise the arms up so they're up above like so. And you're going to fold out these particular panels here at the sides. Then you can bring the arms down. There's a little post that they should snap into. Then you can fold these little pieces onto the red shoulders, and that'll help hold them in place. Adjust the arms a bit so that it gets the treads on the floor. And of course you can come back here and his feet can be lowered a bit and angled. Plus you can fold this bit out here in the back to help give the cannon some support. Then of course we take the cannon, the arm piece from the cannon, you attach it here on the top, plug the orange barrel in front like so, and then you have something that looks pretty close to Galvatron's G1 mode. Of course, for comparison's sake, there is Galvatron's Generation 1 mode. And I do want to point out a nice little bonus feature that they included on this Galvatron, and that's this right here on his, right here near the left shoulder. It's a rub sign. Just like he had in 1986. And as you can see, by rubbing it a bit, you can see a Decepticon symbol. Just like how it worked on the 1986 toy. A nice, interesting little detail. Of course, we'll move Galvatron out, old Galvatron out of the way so we can finish all the additions. You can slide the matrix down on him. The matrix has a little tab on it, so it should post in on his chest. Or at least it's supposed to, so that it doesn't flop about. And then, of course, the added guns can be attached to these posts along the side. These are just a little more pickier about how they go on. There we go. Snapped in. Thought I felt it snap. There we go. And that would complete Galvatron's look for the modern era. Especially when we bring in the Kingdom one for comparison's sake. Now, of course, we get to my thoughts. What do I think of this Galvatron? This is a nice homage to the original toy, especially with the inclusion of the rub sign. That's a nice attention to detail that many of the toys do seem to lack anymore. Especially when the target market for a lot of the Generations ones is the older fans. Because some of us will know the history and such behind many of these great characters. And why they were done the way they were. So all in all, this is a nice version of Galvatron. If there's anything to really gripe about, I'd really have to put it at the stickers. The stickers were a nice touch, but in a lot of ways they're probably going to get torn up. But since this is meant more for a collector than for kids, it's probably something to overlook. Plus, there's also the fact how many of us will really put the stickers on it, especially if all he's going to do is sit in a box. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have put it like that. At any rate, that's my review of the Generation Selects version of Galvatron. I hope you all enjoyed it. And do remember that if you like the content that we feature here on this channel, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.